Hi, and welcome back. I've got a Imjin War naval update of some of the ships I've painted up in the last few weeks. Probably closer to a month and some change, but I've kind of been slow on the progress on this front. Anyway, I can get started here with, we'll begin with the Japanese fleet. At the moment, I've split them into two fleets. I have a good number of a new color scheme that I'm doing to sort of represent the differentiation of each clan having their own style and appearance. So, my existing fleet was with the kind of yellowish tan hulls and the red trim. I started off and have done five more Sekibune in the same color scheme. They're the exact same MT miniatures models as before. I like their sculpts, and they have a good variety out there. So I've got five more Sekibune to add to the fleet. I also have another 9 of these smaller Kobaya kind of fast boarding ships. This should be all of them that I'm going to be painting up of these smaller Kobayas. For the new fleet, I have actually, unlike the rest of my fleets, I haven't built yet the command ships for all of them yet. However, with this new one, I did do a proof of concept and a paint job on the Japanese Atakabune. It's merely the existing large Panoksong, but with the building and structure up on top cut off and replaced with a 2d6 Wargames lantern from their Japanese or their feudal Japan range. Painted up, gave it this nice dark brown lacquered wood with kind of gold trim, gold spotting. It's kind of my homage to how the Japanese fleets were in the Admiral trilogy. From there, I also did 2 sets of Sekibune for that paint job. So they have 2 squadrons of these, which will probably be integrated in with some of the Kobaya, which you'll see here in a moment. They came out pretty good. Painted up quick, especially since it's basically just dark brown with a chocolate brown dry brush, and then pick out the details and the gold and the sails. I'm still planning on trying to track down some clan Mons to put on my sails to kind of add nice look and flavor to the figures. And you have the 15 small Kobaya for this new fleet colorization. They're simple. I don't think they took more than maybe an hour or so to do all 15, since it's, like I said, just a quick base color, dry brush, so on and so forth. Getting the water effect painted and dry actually took way longer than everything else, especially with the weather turning more chilly and damp around here. So that was all the work on my Japanese for this point. Then it gets into all of my Panoks that I painted. I'm almost finished with the Panoks, which I'll show at the end here what's left. But I painted up 23 of the regular-sized Panoks. They are a mix of the ones with the mast and sails deployed that MT sells as a regular package, and then the various, like miscellaneous, different sizes, different configurations of the hull Panoks. Again, like the Kobayas, these only took a few hours, but the water effect was taking its time drying. And to wrap up the Panuks, I painted 2 more of the large oversized, which brings me to 5, I believe, all total. Though I might get a couple more, maybe another pack or 2 of these larger oversized. I'm not sure. I may just stick with the 5. For any given battle, that's probably going to be more than enough. There's number 2. But the remainder, the exciting thing currently, is the fact that I have very few of my basic ships left to paint. And right now, it all amounts to just what's on this little MDF tray. I have 3 Aotakabunes, 2 for each of my Japanese fleets. So we'll have, as you can see, 2 in the dark brown, 1 in kind of the yellow with the yellow-brown with the red trim. But I have just 4 turtle ships remaining, because Yi only deployed 5 of them in any given battle. So I don't figure I'll need many more than that. And we have my remaining 11 Panuks. So those should hypothetically paint up reasonably quick. We'll see how quick I can get them done. Hopefully before the snow starts falling. But the big excitement for me is now that I'm nearing completion of the main fleets, I get to begin work on making command ships for everyone. As I showed with the Atakabune itself, for the Japanese, I have the much, much larger and wider base for my command ships to kind of make them stand out a lot more. They're the same length as your standard oversized Panuk, but they're a little bit wider. So I'm going to be designing up. I've already got a couple of them started for the Koreans. And the Japanese don't really have too much variation off of this, just depending upon the colors that which fleet they're going to go with. I have started, though. I ordered a few weeks back my Ming fleet, since they were the 3rd participant in the Imjin War. I figure they definitely deserve some paint jobs here. And to start off, I went through and, after reading a few things, found that they had the Korean government had given the Ming 2 Panuks. Didn't say whether they had painted them up any differently, but I did a test paint job on one of my Panuks here. And so my first representative of the Ming Chinese, which will be this very cool looking Panuk with the orange flags, yellow trim up on deck there, and kind of a blue and red hull color. That's a rough idea of what they will look like. And soon I'll be able to start working on these. The rest of my Ming fleet, in all of its glory. I have the 2nd Ming Panuk Song right here, and my representative command ships. They should be pretty good. I've got one for Dang and one for Lin. And technically the Panuk, the 2nd one, is designed so that during Noryang, Deng can switch over and serve as command from the Panuk, although that does end badly for him in the historical event. He ends up getting hit by friendly fire when his fellow Chinese didn't recognize the Panuk as being a borrowed Panuk from the Koreans, but rather they thought it was a Japanese ship. So that ends a little bad for them. But anyway, I have all these ships that I'll be starting work on here sometime soon. Another thing related to the project is I have worked on some of the Wargame Atlantic Samurai. Well, technically Ashigaru in this case, but they're going to be part of a ground portion of my game once I start getting that going. But I did my first unit of arquebus troopers. They were a fun little project to put together. Painted up really quick. I mean, they're 10 millimeter. There's not a huge amount of things you have to do beyond dry brushing the armor. And as you can see, I've got the backs of the bases labeled. Eventually all my ships will be that way. And yes, I was that crazy person who decided to paint multiple different armor colors. There's a few red lacquer armor, a couple of brown lacquer, and black lacquer being the 3 varieties I chose, as well as different shirt colors. I thought it would help them kind of stand out, make them look a little more interesting. And in this case, the command base, I did a samurai leading them, probably one of the lesser members of the family. And he's in a nice yellowish colored armor with blue trim. I think all in all, they turned out pretty good. I've got one more unit of these arquebus troopers so far to paint up. It's already built and primed. But they are definitely a step up compared to my old project of the samurai. My tiny 6mm Ashigaru spearmen from 2D6 Wargames. I painted these up many years ago, and comparatively speaking, I'm much more of a fan of the 10mm scale than 6. I enjoy 6 a good bit, but 10mm you can actually see what you're dealing with. But otherwise, that leads me then to the campaign angle. I plan to start off, obviously, the campaign with the Battle of Okpo Bay. And one of the things that I'm anticipating is to actually go through and maybe build the bay itself. I've bought a couple of sheets of insulation board, and I'm going to be cleaning that up, carving it into the shape, and kind of making a 3-dimensional representation of said area. To which I've drawn myself a map. Kind of gridded it out in a 6-foot by 4-foot scaled map here. And you can see the open sea being this area around here. More or less the entire battle is going to take place down here in the lower areas. From what I can tell, the landings would have been somewhere around where I'm pointing at here, even coming around possibly to this spot. But my plan is I'm going to cut it into sections that cover a 2-foot window. So 2 feet here, just over 2 feet coming out that way. 2 feet going across there, there, and there, for ease of storage. Rather than having one giant cohesive mass of land that I have to figure out how to store later. But beyond that, I haven't started cutting the foam yet. I'm kind of delaying that until I get some more of the ships done. And my ocean mat that I ordered from Cigar Box Models hasn't shown up just yet, but hopefully that'll be soon. Otherwise, that's all I've got to show off for this update. Hopefully I'll have another one here in a few weeks. Probably closer to a month, knowing the way I am. But it's looking to be more Ming-centric. Also, I do have plans that once I get all of these ships finished for each of the fleets, I'll do a nice sit-down video where I'll go over and just show what they all look like together, so we can all enjoy the majesty of tiny 1500s to 1600s East Asian fleets.